Welcome. We're doing a deep dive today, and it's really focused on your experience with money.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you shared, the idea here isn't really about, crunching numbers or setting up spreadsheets. Not yet, anyway.
Right. It's more about exploring the internal landscape, the feelings, the stories that you carry around finances.
Exactly, like looking closely at those everyday money moments and trying to understand what's really going on underneath.
And what often comes up, what's really quite illuminating, is realizing that this sense of poverty we might feel,
Mm-hmm.
it isn't always just about dollars and cents, income versus expenses. There's a real emotional weight to it, a story we're telling ourselves maybe without even realizing it.
So, like a feeling of being squeezed almost.
Yes, that kind of suffocating feeling. And the tricky part is, it can hang around even when, on paper the numbers look, well, okay,
Mm-hmm.
sufficient, perhaps.
Let's maybe take an example. Someone like, let's call her Anna.
Yeah.
She's working really hard. She tries to plan. Seems like she's doing everything she's supposed to do. But there's still this nagging feeling that money just slips away. It's just out of reach.
And that underlying worry, maybe, about something unexpected happening.
Yeah, exactly. That sense of never quite having a safety net, a real cushion.
Okay, so this brings us to a really important point for you listening right now. Does any part of that, of Anna's experience, does it resonate? Does it stir something emotionally?
Not necessarily the exact same situation, but maybe that core feeling.
Mhm. That feeling of instability, even when you're putting in the effort, that sense of always being a bit on edge financially.
Maybe you feel a little something in your body as you hear this, a kind of flicker of recognition.
Yeah, pay attention to that.
Because that's really the main thing for this part of our deep dive. We're not jumping to solutions right now.
No, not at all.
The first step, the real foundation, is just awareness. Being present with whatever feelings money brings up for you.
Just noticing. Noticing the sensations, the thoughts that float through.
Let's stay with that moment, that recognition for a second. When you connect with that feeling, what actually surfaces?
Is it just unease?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe curiosity? Like, where does this come from?
And the key is to just observe it, right? Without judging yourself for feeling it.
Absolutely. Because this awareness, this foundation, it's crucial.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't see these ingrained patterns clearly, how we automatically react emotionally to money, they just keep running the show in the background.
Out of sight, out of mind, kind of.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Influencing things without us consciously knowing it.
Think about Anna again, maybe sitting there looking at her bank account and it just doesn't add up the way she wants. That knot in her stomach, maybe tension in her shoulders she doesn't even notice.
And the thought loop, I just need to work harder, perhaps.
Yeah, or maybe underneath that, there's that quieter voice, that doubt. What if I just can't manage this? What if it's always going to be like this?
Okay. And as you hear that, listener, what's coming up for you?
Yeah.
Do you connect with the frustration, maybe even feelings like inadequacy, shame?
Or is there a part of you that kind of wants to pull back, turn away?
Which is also perfectly natural. That impulse to protect ourselves from feelings that are uncomfortable or maybe feel vulnerable.
Whatever the response is, it's actually useful information, isn't it? It's a clue about your own story with money.
Exactly. These responses are breadcrumbs, leading us towards understanding our personal narrative.
There's this idea of a natural cycle in how we experience things. You sense something, you become aware, you gather energy, you take action, and then you feel complete or you withdraw.
Right, a flow. Sensing, awareness, mobilizing, action, contact, completion, withdrawal. That kind of cycle.
But sometimes that cycle gets blocked, right? Interrupted.
And that's where things can get stuck, where this unfinished business starts to pile up. It creates tension, stops us moving forward.
So for Anna, maybe the interruption happens right at that awareness stage.
Often, yes. It might feel easier, safer somehow, to just not look too closely at the finances because it brings up difficult stuff, fear, maybe feeling not good enough, guilt.
So she avoids the awareness part.
Potentially. And maybe jumps straight to action, working more, cutting back really hard, but without really getting what's driving it emotionally.
Which means the actions might not really hit the mark or last.
Exactly. They might not be truly effective or sustainable because they aren't addressing the root feeling.
So this is a big question for you listening. Where might that interruption happen in your life?
Think about a time you avoided dealing with something important. Maybe it was money, maybe something else entirely. We often see similar patterns across different areas.
Like putting off a tough conversation or a big task.
Or maybe just distracting yourself, numbing out uncomfortable feelings. the basic mechanism, avoidance to shield from pain. It often looks quite similar, whatever the context.
And these ways we protect ourselves, these defenses, they help in the moment, sure. They stop us feeling overwhelmed.
They serve a purpose initially.
But long term, they can actually box us in, can't they? Keep us stuck in the same old loops.
Definitely. So Anna's avoidance might give her temporary relief from the anxiety about her money situation.
But it stops her actually tackling the things that cause the anxiety in the first place.
It's like treating the symptom but never looking for the illness,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, let's go a bit deeper with this. Can you bring to mind a recent time when you felt stuck or maybe overwhelmed about money?
Just recall that moment. And as you do, really pay attention to your body. What do you notice physically?
Is there a tightness somewhere? Chest, shoulders feeling heavy. That knot in the stomach again.
These body signals, they're not just random noise, they're often messengers, pointing towards the feelings and beliefs underneath that need some attention.
And what about the stories? What narratives pop into your head in those moments?
Do you find yourself blaming things outside yourself, the economy, your job, how you were raised?
Or does the blame turn inward, focusing on what you think you did wrong, your own flaws?
It's worth noticing that tendency, because honestly, neither blaming outwards nor inwards on its own usually helps create real, lasting change.
Why is that?
Well, if you only blame external things, you can end up feeling powerless, like nothing you do matters.
Right.
But if you only blame yourself, it can lead to just paralysis, feeling so bad about yourself you can't move forward.
So what's a more helpful approach then?
Well, what can be really powerful is trying to step back, observe yourself, but with a sense of compassionate curiosity, like you're watching a movie almost.
Without judging, without trying to fix it immediately.
Exactly, just noticing. What do you become aware of then? Maybe you start seeing specific triggers, like getting a bill in the mail or checking your account balance, and bam, you go straight down that familiar path of panic, or maybe denial.
Or maybe noticing beliefs you've held for ages.
Yes, long-held beliefs like money's always going to be a struggle, or maybe deep down, I don't really deserve to have more. Beliefs that have been quietly steering your choices without you even realizing it.
And finding these things out, seeing these patterns, it's not about feeling bad about them, is it?
No, absolutely not. The intention is the opposite, actually. It's meant to be empowering.
How so?
Because when you bring these unconscious patterns into the light, you start to get some control back. You start to see, okay, this isn't just how things are.
It's a pattern of responding.
It's an established pattern of response. And patterns, once you see them, can be looked at, understood, and eventually, with awareness and intention, they can be changed, shifted.
Like, think about Anna again. Maybe her dad went through really hard times like a war and drilled into her how vital saving every penny was.
Right. For him, being extremely frugal was literally about survival. It was deeply necessary.
But if Anna applies that exact same mindset rigidly to her life now,
It can create problems, yeah. A real imbalance. She might end up sort of emotionally hoarding money, denying herself even small pleasures or basic comforts.
which could then lead to...
Paradoxically, it could lead to snapping and having periods of impulsive spending, almost like letting off steam because the restriction feels too tight.
So her behavior isn't illogical, it's connected to something learned.
Exactly. It's tied to an old survival strategy that might not fit her current reality anymore.
So, listener, can you maybe identify any patterns like that in your own life? Things you inherited?
Were there messages about money in your family growing up? Maybe money or having wealth was seen as bad or greedy, leaving you feeling conflicted about wanting it.
Or maybe the feeling was always scarcity, always not enough.
And that might lead you to unconsciously just expect less or not ask for what you're worth. These family stories, these inherited narratives, they can be incredibly powerful, often working away beneath the surface.
But the good news is just seeing them, just bringing them into awareness, that's the crucial first step, isn't it?
It really is. Once you start recognizing these deep habits of thinking and acting, you can begin to explore other ways.
So for Anna, maybe she could try deliberately practicing, what did you call it? Mindful spending.
Approaching spending not as automatically bad or depriving, but as a conscious choice. Maybe even an act of self-care sometimes.
How would she start that?
She could begin really small. Maybe allocating a tiny amount each week for something purely for enjoyment. Something that directly pushes against that old belief that pleasure is somehow dangerous or wrong.
And doing that consistently.
Over time, yes, Those small, consistent shifts can start to loosen the grip of the old pattern and create space for bigger changes down the line.
But it's really vital to remember this isn't about suddenly being perfect with money, right?
Oh, definitely not. It's much more about just cultivating presence, being here now in your daily experience with it.
So every time you catch yourself falling back into an old habit around money,
That moment of noticing that itself is huge. That's progress.
even just a brief moment of awareness can interrupt the automatic pilot.
Exactly. It breaks the cycle just for a second and gives you a choice point, an opportunity to maybe respond differently this time.
Okay, let's just pause here for a breath. Let people reflect for a moment.
As we've been talking through these ideas, what's one specific pattern in your own relationship with money that feels a bit clearer now?
Maybe it is that tendency to avoid looking at the bank statements.
Or maybe it's a pattern of spending more when you feel down or stressed.
Or maybe even that subtle thing of consistently under-earning, perhaps linked to doubts about your own value.
Whatever it is for you, just allow yourself to acknowledge it. No judgment needed.
Don't try and fix it right now or explain it away.
Just sit with it. Notice how it feels in your body.
And now here's something to consider. What might change if you could look at that pattern with, well, with compassion instead of criticism?
What if you saw it not as some deep character flaw, but as a part of you that's been trying in its own, perhaps misguided way to protect you?
That shift in perspective, it can be really powerful, can't it?
It can be profound. It loosens the grip of shame. It opens doors to healing and growth in a way that constant self-criticism just doesn't.
Because really what we've been exploring here is that breaking free from these difficult money cycles, it's not just about learning new budgeting tricks or following strict rules.
No, it's much more deeply connected to coming back home to yourself.
Yeah.
Recognizing that your worth as a person has absolutely nothing to do with your net worth.
Understanding that abundance is bigger than just money.
Right. It includes things like love, connection, creativity, joy, all parts of a rich life. It's about building a trust, really, in your own ability to create a life that feels genuinely meaningful and fulfilling to you, in the broadest sense of the word.
Okay. Take a moment. Just breathe and let those ideas settle a bit. We're nearing the end of this particular deep dive, and hopefully just exploring this has sparked something, maybe shifted your perspective a little.
As we start to wrap up, it feels important to just acknowledge the journey, even just this short one we've taken together, into your relationship with money.
You started looking at patterns, maybe glimpsed some of that unfinished business we talked about.
Those past experiences, maybe beliefs you inherited, needs that weren't met, things that might still be playing out in your finances today.
Like those family messages about money, or maybe a deep-seated need for security that drives certain behaviors.
Yeah, and that brings up a really key question to ponder as you move forward from here. What might you be actively avoiding when it comes to your finances?
Is it having those tricky conversations, putting off big decisions, or maybe it's as simple as just not wanting to look at the numbers?
Try to tune into that.
Yeah.
Notice the physical sensations that come up when you think about those areas you resist. That resistance itself is often pointing towards something important.
Because the things we push away, the things we resist dealing with in our financial lives,
They might actually hold the key, right? The very key to breaking free from the cycles that feel so stuck.
so those feelings, the shame, the guilt, the fear around money, they're not just roadblocks.
Not necessarily. They can be seen as invitations. Invitations to understand more deeply and ultimately invitations to grow.
So as we finish up this deep dive, maybe a final thought to leave you with, something to really mull over. What would it actually mean for you personally to break free, not just from maybe financial struggles, but from the stories that keep you feeling trapped by them?
How might your life look? How might it feel different? If you started to really see yourself as capable of creating abundance in all its forms, not just money.
Love, joy, connection, meaning.
Exactly. And please remember, this is ongoing. This journey of awareness, of growth, it's a process, not a destination.
Absolutely. Even just engaging with this, spending this time thinking and feeling about these things, that's a real step, a meaningful step forward.